It's huge. Obviously, going into the weekend, we qualified fourth. We were, saying if we could get a top five out of this thing, it'd be pretty spectacular. The team's second ever race. But yeah, to come off the win, just prove that all the hard work in the off season, everything is coming together, and it just kind of proves that we can do it. So to have that momentum coming into this weekend is really big.
So I heard there was a funny little mix-up after the win with you and Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah.
One of you was supposed to get cider, one of you was supposed to get champagne. That didn't quite happen the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, whoever was handing out the champagne made the mistake of giving me the champagne. And I've only been used to drinking the Martinelli, so I took a swig and was like, wait, this is not apple juice.
Tastes pretty good.
Tastes like victory, man. Yeah.
How do you keep, from winning a race like this at 18 years old, from thinking, man, this is easy. I can do this every week.
It's tough. It's tough to keep a level head, but I think the biggest thing for me was just to prove that we could do it. That's kind of the biggest thing. It helps the confidence a lot, and obviously, going forward with the team and stuff, we know that we can do it now. But yeah, just trying to keep a level head. Obviously, we can't expect to have that performance every weekend by any means. We know there's going to be some struggle weekends. We know there's going to be some good weekends. So that's how it's going to be. But I think we've kind of kept a stable rule of, if we can just keep compounding and getting those top 10s in, having some good runs, top 5s, podiums, maybe a few wins, that'd be a pretty good year.
And you've run some Indy Lights at Barber, right? So
Yeah.
What do you think about the track and the way?
It's really cool. One of the best venues that we get to go to as a driver. The track's pretty amazing to run around there, and it's always super beautiful. The grass is always cut perfectly. I know Mr. Barber likes to keep things nice and tidy, and so it's a pretty amazing track to drive.
So I grew up around it primarily on my mother's side of the family. I had a cousin who was an IndyCar driver by the name of Tony Renna. I have an uncle who has been an engineer in IndyCar for over a decade, a 5-time champion engineer by the name of Chris Simmons. And I have a stepfather who's lived a life in motorsport, and he grew up around it himself, and like me, decided to get involved. Just growing up around it, I grew up with two passions, one from each side of my family, and thought we'd had baseball pretty well covered, so jump into racing.
George, it can't be this easy. I mean, winning an IndyCar race in the third start, this is crazy, right?
Yeah, we got a lot of luck, and really to win that early, generally it takes a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error, and a lot of everything working out perfectly over the course of a race. And we skipped the first two steps there, and sort of we had a perfect execution during the race. We got a little bit of luck, and so it resulted in us being on the top step a little earlier than we'd anticipated.
What's the reaction from the garage area when you have an 18-year-old driver and a 22-year-old owner come in and beat all the veterans like this?
I think a good, IndyCar is such a close-knit family that Colton, growing up around the paddock, a lot of those guys have known him since he was a baby up until he was a kid, some of them, the younger ones. But and myself, growing up around the paddock, I'd known a few of the drivers and known a couple of the folks involved in the series and some of the teams. So I think the familiarity that we had already with the sport and the paddock helped in that scenario. And IndyCar has always been super open and welcoming to new members, and especially younger. The younger, the better for them. So we felt welcomed with open arms by everyone, teams, the series, other drivers, other owners.
What's your thoughts on Barber? It's coming up in a week and a half. It's one of the more unique courses in the circuit. What are your early thoughts on that?
I love Barber Motorsports Park. It's one of the more, like you said, unique tracks that we get to. It's the only It's the only track that we run on that was Road America might have, but originally built for motorcycles. So it's very narrow, very tricky course to navigate in a race car. So and the facility itself is beautiful. Mr. Barber just put a lot of money and passion into this incredible facility, and the museum is incredible. I haven't been back in the last, I think 4 years ago I went to the museum for the first time. I've heard they've done some things to it since then, and I'm looking forward to getting to go there next weekend.
Talk a little bit about one of your drivers, Cole. He's coming off a big win.
Right.
What advantage do you think you guys have coming off a big win going into another race?
I think for us to win and to win in the second race, it solidified our place sort of as a competitor. Our goal at the beginning of the season, being a new team, was essentially to run as many laps as possible, stay consistently within the top 10, not get overly ambitious, just be happy with 7th, 8th, 9th place, and work on consistency, work on the different things that a team has to do to win. We didn't know that we would put it all together so early, but I think for us the expectation shouldn't shift too much. I mean, we're second in the points, we have a race win, but we got 15 races to go and we're a new team, so to shift our focus, I think, too far away from just being consistent, I think would hurt us in the long run.
Opening day tomorrow, what do you think?
Well, I'll be there, that's for sure. Excited. I'm excited. It's March to October for me with race season and baseball seasons. I don't know what to do with myself over the winter most times, so it's the best part of the year for me.
All right. Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
Man.